Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I am your host, Christian. Joined with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joseph.
Hello.
And Jehu.
I'll be honest with you, Christian. I was hoping that you would start this off doing your best Elvis impression.
So, it's funny you say that. I thought instead of caca, Kurt would do like a
Dude, I practiced doing caca and Elvis voice all day, and then the last second I chickened out.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Elvis.
Hang on, not just Elvis.
Baz Luhrmann's Elvis?
Baz Luhrmann's Elvis.
Starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks and, other people for some reason.
The guy that looks like Zac Efron but isn't Zac Efron.
Is that the kid from... Are you talking about Dacre Montgomery?
I am talking about Dacre Montgomery.
Yeah, he looks chunky in this movie. What got me, I texted her immediately, and listen, we'll talk about the movie in a minute, but fucking David Wenham is in this movie for some reason. And listen, I just love Faramir so much as a character, but I don't understand why that guy gets put in movies. He's not a good actor.
I mean, look, guy's got to put food on the table.
Yeah. So, what did we think of Elvis?
Hurt, I know you watched this first, so I want to let you go.
Man, I don't know. What can I say? I fucking loved this shit. I waited a long time to get to see it. I was trying every weekend and couldn't. And finally I got to see it. And when you wait that long for something you really want to see, sometimes you build it up too much and it's a letdown. And that was not the case with this. This was, just a 3-hour assault of light and noise. And I loved it.
That is the best possible way to describe this movie.
I know that the big complaint that everybody has about this movie is Tom Hanks's performance, that maybe it's a little over the top or something. How can anything be too over the top for this movie? I love this movie better than Transformers, definitely.
I feel like nonstop assault of light and sound is both what you can say as a positive endorsement and a criticism of this movie.
Right,
whichever side you land on, you say the same things about it.
Right. If you love or hate this movie, it's because of that.
Well, look, I'm totally with you. I also had an absolute blast with this. It's one of those things where music biopics are so played out, isn't necessarily the word, but just so formulaic at this point that they've done 2 movies now that make fun of it, the formula.
Right.
And so you'd think that a movie that, objectively, by its very nature, by the actual story, is pretty close to the formula would not work. But you put enough chutzpah behind it. You put enough fancy scene transitions and anachronistic song choices, and it's a great time.
I'll take a slightly different turn here than you gentlemen. I'll say this. There are 3 common complaints with this movie, or maybe not common complaints, difficult topics in Elvis's life that they just fucking breeze past.
Right.
We never say that Priscilla is 14 when they meet. We just avoid that topic altogether. It has a very positive viewpoint on the appropriation, and it definitely makes the drug abuse make him seem like the victim, that he was put in that situation by other people's doing. Those 3 things, all true. Tom Hanks is not good in this movie. Having said all that, fuck, is Austin Butler not incredible?
He's incredible.
He is so goddamn good in this movie. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, I don't know if it's good. I would tell you it's probably a bad movie, but I will watch it again just to be in awe of that dude. Because there are literal moments, and I know people say this about biopics all the time. This is probably the first time I ever was like, is this archive footage or is this?
No, absolutely.
He was so engrossed in the role. He looks the part. He sounds the part. I know for most of the singing, it's him. I think later in life, it's a little bit more of a mixture between the two. But for that alone, it's better than Transformers. See, I can't remember the last time I was just so impressed with a performance. And I normally shit on biopic actors, Rami Malek being the number one.
Oh, absolutely.
He's so good.
Rami Malek is going to come up at least 2 times, more times in this,
for sure.
In this episode.
I really was worried we would get through this whole movie without arguing about So that's great. A couple of things you talked about, Christian, that I'd like to address. Definitely going into this, I really wondered how they were going to deal with the Priscilla thing. And I think that's the thing that like maybe keeps a lot of people from watching it maybe. Like I know when Sarah was watching it, that was the part she just couldn't get past. I mean, she liked the movie, but that part was just gross. I felt like there was a couple ways they could have handled it that I had thought of going into it. The first of it was just have a wedding scene and during it have Elvis look straight in the camera and throw Jerry Lee Lewis under the bus. Just say, hey, at least she's not my cousin.
Yeah.
Second one would be have Elvis look directly in the camera and just make an argument based on quality. Like, look, the granddaughter of this union was in 2 of the 3 best movies of the teens. Like, you wouldn't have that if this didn't happen. So overall, it's a good thing for the world. They didn't do either of those. What they instead did was made Priscilla the smartest person in the movie. I think that was how they got around. It's like, yeah, she's only 14, but she's smarter than everyone.
But her mind is older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I realized that was one of the things that I wanted to, I don't know if it's worth like discussing, but I recognize going into this that all of us were a little, we all missed Elvis while he was alive in his prime, all of that pretty much.
Right.
So like, this is kind of my issue with biopics as a whole. And I think this has happened every single time we've done an episode on anything that's remotely historical. Is the danger with one of these, with these things is, as far as I'm concerned, what happened in this movie is what just happened in real life. Because I don't actually know that much about Elvis's life. I don't even know I don't even know how many Elvis songs I actually knew. And so, yeah, like I don't fucking know about the Priscilla thing until I started reading the trivia for this movie. So it didn't bother me at all. But yeah, again, the movie does not present it as a thing to be concerned about.
I will say, I don't think it ignores appropriation. I think it says appropriation is awesome.
It has a very positive viewpoint of it. I was thinking the whole time, Hurt, about when you said, people talk about it negatively, but you thought if Elvis doesn't exist, like that sets us back so many years. And you kind of swayed me on that argument. Like, I do think that there is probably some truth to that. It goes a very long way of saying that, like, he's trying to honor those things. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not true, but that's not what I know of that story,
I mean, I don't know if that was really what was in the dude's heart, but that's definitely what he tried to sell. He tried to sell that he had a great respect for those guys and stuff like that. I mean, my feelings on appropriation is it's one of those things that we didn't care about till 10 years ago, and now it's always bad. And I think, there's good appropriation and bad appropriation. Do we really want to live in a world without the Beastie Boys? Do we really want to live in a world without Fugazi? Those are bands that lean heavily on appropriation. So, I don't know. I think this movie definitely tries to spin. So, it definitely leaned into what I already thought of this subject.
Yeah.
You and Baz Luhrmann agree.
Right.
Yeah.
So can we talk about what the fuck is going on with Tom Hanks in this movie?
Oh, that's good. That's what I was going to say too. What the fuck is... So first off, I was most mad, I think, when I finished this movie. I was, again, going to IMDb and I realized the top billed actor in this movie was Tom Hanks.
I mean, this is a Tom Parker movie. Like, it is about Colonel Tom Parker.
I guess so, but also, like, I don't know what his ratio of lines to Austin Butler's are, but it's definitely less. And he mostly just shuffles around in a fat suit, scowls, and talks in just a nonsense accent. I don't really understand.
I love the accent so much.
It's so insane. It's nothing.
it just goes back and forth between being like German to being Southern to being gay. Like it does so many different things.
Yeah, I kind of soured on Tom Hanks, y'all. I think the last few years have not done him any favors, and it will be hard for me to forget this role for a while.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like that's part of the Baz Luhrmann effect, though, right? He's so just patently like bald-faced, untrustworthy all the time, and everything about not just like the mannerism, the words, but I mean the accent and the made upness of the accent. I feel like sells part of how phony he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely presented this in a way that you're like, how does everyone not recognize immediately
Right.
that he's a mustache twirling villain?
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, as Joseph was saying, that Baz Luhrmann is not a fan of subtlety. He wants you to know.
Right.
I will say my absolute favorite thing about this movie, all around, I think the mixes and the song choice are really good. But I would have been really pissed off if I had sat here for 3 hours and did not get In the Ghetto. Because that's the craziest fucking Elvis song. And I am so happy they put it in there. And it's like the last song. So great.
I would bet that's probably Baz Luhrmann's favorite Elvis song.
Probably.
Like, it seems like the one he would love.
I will go around. I mean, when I start, I can't stop. It's like a week long. I'll just randomly be like, In the Ghetto.
This either also had to be a really fun or a really awful job to be the costume designer for.
Right.
All of the Elvis costumes, I imagine, were the fun bit, but there were just a shit ton of costumes in this movie. I recognize that, like, you know what? Maybe we should start wearing capes more. Right. Capes are pretty dope.
Yeah. Are we in spoilers or are we even caring about
what spoilers can there be about a movie about Elvis?
Well, because what I was going to talk about is some of the things that, I have watched a lot of Elvis movies and, read a lot of Elvis stories and stuff. And one of the things I liked about this is it doesn't stand on the usual spots that the other ones do. For instance, it doesn't even touch on the Ed Sullivan Show. And instead, focuses more on like the embarrassment of the Steve Allen Show. And it doesn't really linger too long on, it doesn't even really touch on his friendships from Sun Records. Instead, it was more about his friendship with B.B. King, who that kid who played B.B. King was fucking awesome. And that kid who played Little Richard was fucking awesome.
Incredible.
Baz Luhrmann should follow this up with a Little Richard movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that, Herbie. That Little Richard dude was, I mean, he kills that part.
Totally. And one of the things I really liked about it is most Elvis stuff is basically around the idea that as soon as he gets to Vegas, he's over. He's a bloated has-been in Vegas. And this, this really goes into, for a little while, Vegas was cool. Captain Marvel outfits are cool, fucking a 30-piece band is cool, laser lights and shit. Like, because that style is, really some of the stuff that Elvis is most known for. So I'm glad it wasn't portrayed as that's the end as soon as he gets there.
I guess I've always tied so much of Vegas's persona to Elvis, and certainly seeing it in this light tells a different story. So it made me ask: is Vegas a victim in this movie? Like, is it worse off now that this movie exists than it was before?
I can tell you the Elvis Museum in Vegas probably is, which I've been to, and I remember the basic gist is Elvis just loved Las Vegas so goddamn much. He never wanted to leave.
Part of this movie, that is not true at all. That was interesting. That part, I actually really, really did enjoy that. I don't have much else.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, when you mentioned Vegas, it just reminds me of all of Baz Luhrmann's insane scene transitions, shot transitions, like the weird spinny, like upside down into the international. It's great. I love that shit.
It was really cool.
Let's see what else. I just like so much about this movie that the stuff during the comeback special. I like that they really lingered on that for a while, did a lot with it. Baz Luhrmann was born to film that giant red light Elvis sign.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say too much about a movie.
I know this always happens to us when it's a good movie, and I feel like we were expecting. The thing about Baz Luhrmann is it's a spectacle either way, but it's definitely fun to talk about a spectacular just bomb. But this one's it's pretty good.
Right.
I really liked it.
I won't say I thought it was pretty good. I don't think the movie's very good. I just get so caught up in the spectacle of Baz Luhrmann, and I thought Austin Butler just was like a force on screen. Like I really, really enjoyed his performance. Everybody else I could just fucking do without. I did not care, but he was good.
Yeah, I sent you guys a video right before this if you didn't watch it.
I did, and I loved it.
It's insane.
It was great.
So Austin Butler, this movie was filming like during COVID and then got shut down and then restarted, whatever. So they filmed this movie, which I mean, Apparently there's like way more footage than made it into the movie, but for like 2.5 years. And apparently Austin Butler was just like hardcore in Elvis land for 2.5 years. And he like has a completely different accent now than he had before this movie. And it's not quite Elvis, but it's definitely like, he's from California. So he had like a very like SoCal generic American accent. And now it's somewhere between that and Elvis all the time now.
No, he sounds like he's from Memphis. I mean, he does.
100% sounds cooler. He's just a
yeah, he does.
Sounds cooler.
He does.
Oh, that's great.
Did you guys hear the thing that Denzel helped him get the job?
I did hear. Tell us more about it, though.
Yeah, apparently Denzel called up Baz Luhrmann and told him, "You will be very impressed by this young man's work ethic." Which sounds like exactly something Denzel Washington.
Absolutely, it does. And the other amazing thing, I'm assuming you read this in the same place that I do, is apparently Denzel Washington had never met Baz Luhrmann. So just cold call him this dude, be like, "Hey, let me tell you about my boy."
Yeah, that's great.
This is neither here nor there. Has nothing to do with that. And really doesn't have anything to do with the movie. It just seems kind of appropriate, and I want to talk about it. Every couple of years, there's this clip of Little Richard coming up, and people ask him about, what is it like being the least famous person of like that group of artists? And he's always like, I owned every fucking song they were singing. I don't care if I was the least famous. He's like, I made way more money than all of them. And it's just, every time I see it, it brings me such joy.
Yeah, I think that's unless we had anything else on this. Like, again, I disagree with Christian. I think as a movie, minus maybe Tom Hanks, I think it's pretty good, but it's absolutely worth seeing just for Austin Butler's performance alone. It's smashing. I don't know how else to describe it.
I think even the horror in it is compelling.
Yeah.
Like Tom Hanks, I'm not saying that is a great job of acting, but is a job of acting you can't look away from.
And the clowns were just so creepy. Why did he have those creepy clowns all the time?
I don't know.
Remember when he first corners Elvis in the Hall of Mirrors at the carnival?
Terrifying.
I fucking love Baz Luhrmann. This shit's outstanding.
That is so Baz Luhrmann.
Also, the word snow has so many different meanings in this that I genuinely lost track of what we were actually talking about most of the time. They use it so colloquially, like everybody knows what we're talking about, but I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah. All I thought about in the mirror scene, and whatever, I was like, the only two movies Baz Luhrmann saw in 2019 were Bohemian Rhapsody and Us. And he wrote an entire fucking movie off of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's solid.
Dead on. Anyway, that's Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. It's good. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think, but it's on HBO Max. So
I think if you watch all 3 hours of this and despise it, it'll be an experience worth having.
Yeah, you'll be the better for it.
Great.
I agree. Better than Transformers.
Yeah.
You don't seem convinced.
I'm not. But I will definitely watch it again, and I'll probably watch it before the next time I watch Transformers. So sure, better than Transformers.
Dude, I'm telling you, this shit's like what Hamilton was to you guys. Anytime I'm not doing something, I throw it on.
So you've watched it multiple times already?
I have watched it multiple times.
Wow. Outstanding.
Now, not all the way through. I don't have too much time. I'm old, but I have started this movie multiple times.
You're a big fan of authenticity on musical equipment and things. What did you think of this movie?
I feel like there was one guitar. I can't remember now, but there was one guitar. I was like, that guitar doesn't seem right. But everything else seemed pretty on board. Seemed pretty good.
Yeah.
Definitely during the comeback special. Those were the guitars that dude played in the comeback special.
I mean, there is, of course, some influences of modern music. Most of them are songs that sample like Elvis tracks. So I thought that was fine. I was surprised there wasn't more, truthfully,
right.
Baz Luhrmann, but
I know.
Yeah, fuck it. Better than Transformers.
There you go. Better than Transformers. I know we've sworn off the Oscars on this podcast, and I'm pretty sure we've already given away fucking Rami Malek's Oscar to somebody else for doing something better. So now I'm recommending that we give Rami Malek in a glass case to Austin Butler for this performance.
We know that I didn't hate Bohemian Rhapsody like you guys did. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. That being said, definitely Austin Butler should be able to take Rami Malek's Oscar and beat him to death with.
Absolutely. All right. Anyway, that's Elvis. What have we been watching this past week, guys?
I really didn't watch much, so I'll talk about Rings of Power. Watch the first couple episodes of the Amazon Lord of the Rings show, Rings of Power. And guys, this show fucking kicks. It is so fucking good. One, it just looks incredible. But two, I think the internet misunderstands what Amazon can and cannot do. So too many people are like, oh, that's not fucking Galadriel wasn't like that. Read the Silmarillion. They literally can't. They can't tell that story. They bought the rights to Lord of the Rings, those 3 books, and then they wrote an entire fucking show off the appendix of Lord of the Rings. They didn't write a show off the book that this story is or references. So it's completely like different, their version, original. And I think they pretty much knock it out of the park. I know people are upset that they have black people as elves, but fucking read The Hobbit. The elves sing tra-la-la-la-lolly all the fucking time. And Peter Jackson didn't do that, and good on him, because Tolkien was wrong. And I say this as a person who reads Lord of the Rings every single year. I'm reading it right now again for what will be like the 17th time. Fuck it, it's not perfect.
Right.
And they made changes, and there's absolutely no way you could tell me that if Fellowship of the Ring came out today and they made the change that they made and made Arwen the person to save Frodo, that these same people would not be bitching. They didn't care back then because they didn't have Twitter, but now they care.
Right.
This show is good, and I don't care who fucking knows it. I don't care what people think about it. It is really well produced. It's very expensive, it looks like, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
I also really liked the first 2 episodes of this. And I like even the complaint that, Galadriel was never this kind of badass. She's like 10,000 fucking years old. Maybe she went through a phase.
Yeah, I don't get this. Why do you want people to be what you know them to be? Why don't you want to see character development?
Right.
Specifically with like Galadriel and Elrond, if you take what we see in the story, if this is all building up to the Battle of Mount Doom and Isildur cutting the ring off the hand of Sauron, if that's what we're building to, we know Elrond is there and Galadriel is not. So it's kind of interesting that we're starting with 2 characters, Galadriel, who wants to be there, and Elrond, who could not give a shit. I want to see how we get to that point. Like, it's interesting to me that they're different than what we think. But
I hadn't even thought of that, but that's a really good point. I like that a lot.
Yeah, people just want to be spoon-fed the same bullshit they already know.
Man, my thing at this point is anything that pisses off Elon Musk must be good.
It's actually probably a good bellwether. I like that. I'm just trying to figure out. I've only made it 1 episode through the show, but where the fuck are they finding all these British people that have just like these crazy ass faces? Are there like normal looking people in Britain?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of people that should be like put in closets instead of being put on screen, but it's fine.
At this point, if you're British, you are either acting in House of the Dragon or in Lord of the Rings. Those are the only 2 jobs you can have. If you're
these are the D tier guys.
There's some story about Big Trouble in Little China and The Golden Child were filming at the same time. And, those both really rely on Asian casts. So literally people would just clock out at one and go to the other.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
But yeah, that's it. Rings of Power. Check it out. Don't listen to people online. It's good. I also watched House of the Dragon, and I think this is way more engaging than that show. Other than Matt Smith, who fucking kicks ass. But
I only watched 1 episode of House of the Dragon, but I totally agree. This is way better. House of the Dragon, for a show that was known for its unpredictability, House of the Dragon just feels really by the numbers and predictable.
Is it because we know what happens? I would say no, but I'm interested in your opinion. My counter question to that also is it because it just feels like a show that's trying to explain Daenerys?
I mean, 100% it's a show that's trying to explain Daenerys. I really think, if you think of the first episode of Game of Thrones, how many characters were thrown at you and how much different things were going on and how hard it was to keep up with. And then it ends with really the most sympathetic character you've met up to that point getting pushed out of a window by, an incestuous knight. Like, you haven't seen that shit before. This was just, there was a king and an heir you were rooting for and an heir you weren't rooting for. And at the end of the first episode, the heir you're rooting for is on top. That seems pretty predictable.
Yeah. I want to go back to Rings of Power real fast. And I want to say a spoiler warning. And Joseph, if you haven't watched the second episode, this is not going to make a whole lot of sense. But a good example of what I mean about people just separating what they know from just trying to enjoy this show is the mysterious character that shows up at the end of episode 1. They do a really good job of like trying to make you not believe it's Sauron, so much to the point that I'm like, God, I hope it's Gandalf, which would be like 3,000 years before Gandalf gets to Middle Earth. But I want it to be Gandalf. Like, fuck the story. Just give me Gandalf.
It almost feels like it's Superman. Like it's a very Superman introduction.
Yeah, it's definitely Sauron. I'm positive, but I really wanted it to be Gandalf.
It would be crazy crossover if it was Superman.
Well, I was really like, are they doing like a Superman thing? Is that what they're going to try to do here? Sure, why not? Fuck it. Do whatever they want to. As long as it pisses off Elon Musk.
That's it. I'll talk forever.
What you been watching?
Man, I watched another movie about Elvis.
Okay.
There was Amazon, because I watched Elvis so much, I guess, keeps pushing this movie to me called Elvis and Nixon. The funny thing about this is not the first movie I've watched about this. I've already watched a different movie about the meeting of Elvis and Nixon. The first one I kind of enjoyed a lot. It was, I watched it when I was young, so I can't say that it was good, and it had like nobody in it, but I enjoyed watching. This one wasn't a very good movie, but it's Michael Shannon as Elvis and canceled Kevin Spacey as Nixon.
Woo!
And watching those guys ham it up is a pretty good time.
I just want to see Michael Shannon as Elvis.
Well, and man, it has the complete different take on Elvis than Baz Luhrmann's Elvis did. Like, I would say probably where Elvis was somewhere in between these. Like of course, Baz Luhrmann's really wanted you to sympathize with Elvis. This didn't want you to sympathize with Elvis at all. But yeah, it's a fun watch, and it's free on Amazon. I won't go so far as to say better than Transformers, but funner than Transformers. That's all I got.
Perfect. I don't feel like I know I'm forgetting something. I had planned to talk about two things, and now I can only think of one thing. But the one thing I want to talk about is something that I've meaning to bring up for a long time. We got recommended through email from one of our listeners, Trey, about the Batman Unburied podcast on Spotify. With Winston Duke as Bruce Wayne and Lance Reddick as Thomas Wayne and a variety of other levels of fame people in it. It's got fucking Gimli in it, I think. What's his name? Something Reese.
Jonathan Rhys Davies.
Jonathan Rhys Davies. Thank you. It's pretty good. I think it's like a 10-episode radio serial. I'm not going to try and explain the plot because it's better to just listen to it, but it's a Batman story. The thing is, I think in general it's pretty good. I've listened to other radio serials before. I like Marvel, the Wolverine one that they did also. There's like an element to them that I think is inherently like kind of corny, but I feel like this one does pretty well, just kind of by the standards of its own medium. I think everybody's really good. There's a really fun bit in the middle where it's Barbara Gordon and the Riddler solving a crime together, and that's really fun. I would having listened to it for like 2 episodes, I would listen to a whole podcast that was just that. The biggest drawback is Winston Duke is fucking terrible. Just
really
God awful. I have no idea. Every single line read of his seems like a sticky note that was passed to him as he was trying to make himself a sandwich. I don't know how else to describe it. It's absolutely awful.
That's too bad. That was the part of it. I keep meaning to listen to this. That was the part of it I was looking forward to the most. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, look, I think there's a lot of it that's not Bruce Wayne centric.
Right.
So, I think it works out that way that it doesn't entirely negate the rest of the show. But yeah, it is a real bummer for, both kind of the central premise. And also, I like Winston Duke. I wanted to see him succeed, but this wasn't it, bruh. Also, there's that episode name and a funny bit in it where it's not intentionally funny, where Batman goes to Alfred and says, "Get me my work clothes." And the idea that Batman sees being Batman as like a job is the most insane thing I can even conceive of.
No, because Bruce Wayne is the job.
It's like, oh, Alfred, I'd love to make it, but I gotta clock in at 9. Just what? I don't know. Anyway, Batman, I still think it's better than Transformers. But yeah, you've been warned.
Hey, there actually was one more thing I wanted to talk about just very shortly. Did either of you guys watch any of that Taylor Hawkins tribute stuff?
Fuck, dude.
I saw that. There Goes My Hero with
with Sean.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and guess what Christian Jones's favorite part was. I'm going to guess it was when Dave Grohl got blown the fuck out trying to play Rush. Like, he was dead after doing Working Man. Like, not even YYZ. He got off the kit for YYZ.
That wasn't my favorite part, but that was hilarious. My favorite part was Wolfgang fucking playing Van Halen and everyone being like, he's so awesome. And I was like, this shit is terrible. Like, all respect in the world to that guy, like, but he's not doing anything and all that impressive in that moment. But that was my favorite part. He
was definitely, I felt like he was hitting the notes, but it was the first time I'd ever watched someone doing that where I think, oh shit, I could probably do that.
That is dead on. It's not that I could tell you that anything was bad, right, but either A, Eddie was not as good as we all think he was, and he just made it look really cool,
right,
or B, Wolfgang is the most boring person to ever play guitar.
I think it's that because, like, I think Eddie had a flair for not just making it sound cool, but making it look really cool. I loved that part because of course, Justin Hawkins is my fucking man. Justin Hawkins from The Darkness. And Josh Freese on drums. I fucking love that guy. I met that guy. Great dude. The AC/DC part was really fun. Brian Johnson's always a hoot. Yeah, it was just a really good time.
It was a really cool event. Really, really cool. But yeah, them playing My Hero with Sean and what I love about that bit, obviously the emotion there is great. But what I love is Dave Grohl consistently turning around and watching him and like making sure he's with it. Like, great communication for that moment. Because the stage is just too big for the kid at that time. And I mean, he does a great job, but it was really good to me to see Dave Grohl like kind of take on that communication bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, all the shit's on YouTube now. If anybody out there hasn't watched it, way better than Transformers. I was actually out during the day that it was going on, and my buddy Zach was just texting me constantly, and I thought he was just making shit up. It all sounded so cool. So when I got home and it was actually as cool as he explained it, it was a pretty big surprise.
Let's do D23 next week. We'll have all new news.
All right, that sounds good. I like it. D23 next week. But thanks for everybody for listening. Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. You can reach us at realphonies@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies, and on Instagram at real_phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for our, Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.